Let's get weird into it. Number 8. The incredible shrinking bar. You're standing in the snack aisle, a place of profound spiritual decision-making. You reach for that bag of chips you've loved since you were a kid, the one that's seen you through breakups and all-night study sessions. It feels a little light, a little emptier. You shake it. The sound is less a hearty rustle and more the lonely echo of a few potato ghosts rattling around in a plastic mausoleum. You are not going crazy. Your hands haven't suddenly grown into giant, clumsy meat paddles. You are a victim of shrinkflation. It's one of the sneakiest, most gaslighty scams in the modern world. Instead of raising the price of your favorite orange-dusted snack puff, which would cause you, the consumer, to rear up in righteous fury, companies employ a little dark magic. They just give you less of it, for the same price. The bag stays the same size, a glorious billboard of salty promises. But inside, the air-to-chip ratio has been nefariously adjusted. Your chocolate bar quietly loses a few segments. Your bottle of juice develops a mysterious deep dimple on the bottom, displacing precious liquid. Your roll of paper towels suddenly has a wider cardboard tube, like it's trying on a belt that's 2 sizes too big. They're banking on the fact that your brain is great at remembering prices, but absolutely terrible at remembering precise weights and volumes. You'll notice if your chips go from $3.99 to $4.50. You probably won't notice if they go from 9.75 ounces to 8.5 ounces. It's a slow, quiet theft, happening in millions of factories. They're literally shaving off infinitesimally small parts of the product, which, over millions of units, adds up to a dragon's hoard of profit. They're playing you, using your own nostalgia and habit as a weapon. They know you won't pull out a pocket scale in the middle of aisle 6. You're just a frog in a slowly warming pot of water, and the water is made of disappearing ice cream. Number 7. Liquid gold. You need to print a concert ticket. Just one page. A single, solitary piece of paper with some black text on it. You send the command to your printer. That plastic box of lies you bought for $40. It whirs. It groans. It makes the hesitant noises of a machine contemplating the futility of its own existence. And then it stops. A little light blinks. A message pops up on your screen. Unable to print. Replace cyan cartridge. Cyan. You're printing a black and white document. Why does it need cyan? Does it need a tiny drop of tropical ocean blue to summon the courage to print the letter A? This, my friends, is the gateway to one of the most brazen scams ever conceived. Printer ink. The business model is a classic bait and switch called razor and blades. They sell you the printer itself for practically nothing. They might as well be giving them away in cereal boxes. They lose money on that hunk of plastic. But they know, oh they know, that once you're locked into their system, they have you. The real product is the ink. Those tiny plastic cartridges filled with a thimble's worth of colored liquid. Per milliliter, printer ink is one of the most expensive fluids on Earth. It's more expensive than vintage champagne. It's more expensive than luxury perfume. In many cases, it's more expensive than human blood. You are paying a blood price to print a shipping label. And the printers themselves are designed to be ink-guzzling monsters. They have little microchips on the cartridges that scream empty when there's still 20% of the ink left. They run pointless cleaning cycles that do nothing but spray your precious liquid gold onto an internal sponge you'll never see. That low ink warning is not a helpful reminder. It's a threat. It's your printer holding your documents hostage until you pay the ransom. Number 6. The Expiration Suggestion. Imagine you're standing in front of your open refrigerator. It's late. The little light bulb inside is judging you. You see a tub of yogurt. You check the date stamped on the lid. It was yesterday. A tiny jolt of panic hits your nervous system. You hesitate. Is it now a churning vessel of microscopic death? Will one spoonful send you on a 3-day vision quest in your bathroom? You throw it out. And in that moment, you have just been played by a massive, food-wasting scam. The best buy date. Here's the secret the grocery industrial complex doesn't want you to know. Most of those dates have almost nothing to do with food safety. The sell-by date is for the store, a note for them to rotate their stock. The best buy or best if used by date is a completely arbitrary guess from the manufacturer about when the product will be at its absolute peak flavor and texture. It is not a death sentence. It's the food equivalent of a sticker saying, might be slightly less mind-blowingly awesome after this point. Your yogurt isn't a ticking time bomb, it's just yogurt. Your crackers might be a tiny bit less crispy. Your cereal might have a slightly less aggressive crunch. But it's not going to hurt you. This system was never really about protecting you. It was about protecting the company's reputation for perfect quality, and more importantly, encouraging you to throw away perfectly good food and buy more. It creates a cycle of fear and waste. Because of our collective fear of a slightly less than perfectly crisp chip, we throw out billions of tons of food every year. We are literally building mountains of edible groceries in landfills, all because we got spooked by a suggestion printed in tiny letters on a milk carton. Number 5. The Forever Diamond. At some point, society collectively decided that the only way to prove you truly love someone is to present them with a specific, shiny rock that was forged in the bowels of the earth under immense pressure. And not just any rock. A diamond. And not just any diamond, but one that costs about 2 months of your salary. Have you ever stopped to ask why? Why that specific, clear, carbon-based crystal? The answer is a marketing campaign. One of the most brilliant, successful, and manipulative marketing campaigns in human history. For most of history, diamonds weren't that big of a deal. They were a nice gem, sure, but no more special than a ruby or an emerald. Then, in the late 1800s, huge diamond mines were discovered in South Africa, flooding the market. Suddenly, this rare gem wasn't rare at all. The value was about to plummet. So the company that owned those mines, De Beers, did something genius. They formed a cartel. They bought up all the mines, stockpiled the diamonds, and created an artificial scarcity, strictly controlling how many were released to the public each year. But that wasn't enough. They had to create the demand. In the 1930s and 40s, they hired an ad agency that began a psychological assault on the Western world. They linked diamonds with movie stars, with glamour, with eternal love. They invented the 4 C's: cut, clarity, color, and carat, to make buyers feel like they were making a sophisticated scientific purchase. And in 1947, a copywriter penned the 4 most expensive words in history. A diamond is forever. It's a lie. Diamonds can chip, burn, and shatter. But the slogan created the illusion that your love, just like the diamond, would be eternal. It transformed a common crystal into a mandatory cultural artifact. And here's the kicker. The moment you walk out of that jewelry store, your 2-month salary investment loses over half its value. The resale market is almost non-existent. The only thing forever is the hole it leaves in your bank account. Number 4. The Textbook Racket. Step into the fluorescent hum of a university bookstore. The air smells of fresh paper and impending financial doom. You have your class list. You find the shelf for Psych 101. And there it is, a textbook, the size of a small tombstone, shrink-wrapped in plastic. You flip it over to look at the price, and for a second, you think it's a typo. $300 for a book. A book you will use for 4 months and then never open again. Welcome to the college textbook scam, a perfectly legal system of extortion designed to drain every last cent from people who are already going into soul-crushing debt. Here's how the racket works. The professors, who often get free copies, assign the book. You, the student, have no choice but to buy it. But it gets worse. The publisher releases a new edition every single year. What's new in this edition? Maybe they shuffled the chapters around. Maybe they changed a few pictures and updated a statistic from 2019 to 2021. The core information, the stuff that's been true for 50 years, is identical. But by changing the page numbers, they've made all the cheaper used copies of the old edition obsolete. But their masterstroke is the access code, that little scratch-off card that comes with a new book. You need that code to do your homework online, to take quizzes, to access the digital materials that are now a mandatory part of your grade. That code is a one-time use digital key. It can't be bought used. It can't be shared. It's a self-destructing mechanism for the second-hand market. You are trapped. You are paying hundreds of dollars for information that is largely available for free on the internet, locked behind a system designed by a handful of publishing companies who have a captive audience and absolutely zero incentive to be reasonable. You're literally paying a fortune to learn how the economy works, while being actively fleeced by it. Number 3. The suicide switch. Your smartphone is about 2 years old. It used to be a sleek, lightning-fast miracle in your pocket. Now it's a tired, wheezing shadow of its former self. The battery life is a joke. It takes 10 seconds to open an app, and it heats up just thinking about loading a web page. You're not imagining it. Your phone is dying. And it was designed to. This is planned obsolescence, the secret philosophy that builds the modern world. It's the practice of designing a product with an artificially limited lifespan, so it will become obsolete, unfashionable, or more often, non-functional after a certain period of time. This isn't a new idea. Back in the 1920s, the world's biggest light bulb manufacturers formed a secret cartel called the Phoebus Cartel. They realized that new, long-lasting bulbs were bad for business. If a bulb lasted forever, you'd only ever buy one. So they secretly engineered their light bulbs to burn out after about 1,000 hours. They deliberately made their product worse, just so you'd have to buy it again and again. Today, that philosophy is in everything. It's the non-replaceable battery in your phone that will inevitably lose its ability to hold a charge. It's the software update that mysteriously slows down older models right when the new one is being announced. It's the proprietary screw that means you can't open the case to fix a simple problem. It's your washing machine with a key plastic part that's engineered to snap after a certain number of cycles. Your devices aren't just failing, they are fulfilling their destiny. They are born with a kill switch, a little piece of their soul programmed to self-destruct, not out of malice, but out of a cold, calculated love for profit. They are built to be thrown away, turning you into a permanent repeat customer for a problem they created. Number 2, the choice illusion. You're in the laundry aisle, a dizzying canyon of colorful boxes and bottles, all screaming about their unique, world-changing ability to fight stains. On your left, you have Tide, a classic, reliable brand. On your right, you have Gain, with its promise of a scent that will last for weeks. You feel like a free-willed consumer, an economic agent making a rational choice based on price, performance, and whether you want your clothes to smell like Island Fresh or Mountain Spring. The joke's on you. Your choice doesn't matter. They're both made by the same company, Procter & Gamble. This is the illusion of choice, and it's the architecture of the modern supermarket. You think you're choosing between dozens of competing brands, but you are often just picking between different colored puppets, whose strings are all held by the same handful of megacorporations. That Lay's chip, made by PepsiCo. That Dorito, PepsiCo. That Cheeto, that Sun Chip, that Quaker oatmeal you had for breakfast, all PepsiCo. Thinking of being healthy with a naked juice? Sorry, also PepsiCo. It's everywhere. One company, Luxottica, makes or owns Ray-Ban, Oakley, Purcell, and Sunglass Hut. A handful of massive food conglomerates own nearly everything you see in the grocery store. They create a vast array of brands and sub-brands, each with its own unique identity, its own marketing, its own spot on the shelf. They are designed to compete with each other, to fight for your dollar, to give you the satisfying feeling that you are in control. But you're not. You're just wandering through a carefully constructed stage play. Every option you see has already been vetted and approved in a corporate boardroom. Your freedom of choice is often just the freedom to decide which of a giant's pockets you'd like to put your money in. Number 1. The guilt tip. The meal is over. It was good. The server was nice. The check arrives, but the transaction isn't over. Now comes the final, awkward ritual. The server brings over a little tablet, preloaded with the bill, and then they turn it around to face you. There on the screen, big and bright, are the options: 18%, 20%, 25%, and a tiny, shameful little button at the bottom for custom or no tip. The server stands there, watching. Your friends are watching. The entire restaurant is watching. Your soul is being judged. This is tipping culture, and it might just be the most socially accepted, emotionally manipulative scam of them all. You think you're giving a little extra to reward good service. What you're actually doing is subsidizing a business owner's payroll. In most of the world, a restaurant's prices reflect the total cost of business, the food, the rent, and yes, paying their employees a living wage. But in the United States, a legal loophole allows employers to pay tipped workers a shockingly low federal minimum wage, as low as $2.13 an hour in some states, with the understanding that the customer will make up the difference. The responsibility for paying the staff has been ripped away from the boss and placed squarely on your shoulders. It's a system with a dark history, imported from aristocratic Europe after the Civil War, and popularized specifically as a way for employers to hire newly freed slaves without having to pay them a real wage. It was a tool of discrimination then, and it continues to create massive instability for workers today. Every time you're presented with that tablet, you're not just being asked for a gratuity. You are being guilted into participating in a broken system. You're paying for your meal, and then you're paying again. Not out of pure generosity, but out of social pressure and the uncomfortable knowledge that if you don't, the person who just served you might not be able to make rent. It's a fee for empathy, tacked on at the end of every meal. And that's our time for today. More strange things are always coming, so I'll see you in the next one.